YouTube, what is going on? It is Gino Bonino here with you, and I want to tell you, first of all, thank you for checking out my channel once again. Please do leave a like, and if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. And if you want, leave a comment and challenge something I'm saying, or agree with me, or disagree, or whatever. Perfectly okay with that. I like conversation. As a matter of fact, on both Facebook and Instagram, I converse to people all the time about comic book stuff. We kind of have a little back and forth about what do you think's going on and what's happening and how do you like this character and stuff like that. Comic book talk is always interesting. Again, some people I know find it, obviously, if you're not a comic book head like we are, you kind of find it boring. But if you like it and it's interesting, it's always good to hear what other people have to say about it. In regards to these glasses, I just want to let you know, I kind of, as you probably know, if you shoot video, you usually use kind of bright lights. I have some that are kind of the cheap ones, the square ones with the 6 or 8 light bulbs in them. Anyway, to make a long story short, I have kind of sensitive eyes, and I tend to get headaches from bright lights, sunshine and things like that. So I often wear glasses to kind of keep that from happening. And what I found through kind of trial and error is certain colors tend to block out and help me the best. Believe it or not, red and kind of the red hues and whatnot seems to do the best. I don't know how it works or why it works, but it just works. So and also, as they say, the world looks better in rose-colored glasses. So that's what it's all about. What's happening today? Today it is Friday the 19th, and the big news that I know of, at least for eBay and speculating and stuff like that, is Hulk, or Thor, excuse me, 390 has blown up today. I don't know when it happened. I know, however, I started seeing some chatter about it. I went and checked myself, and a book that has kind of sat around at the $10 and $15 range, ain't that no mo'. It's probably about $60 or $70. I'm sure that it's going to happen. The market will get flooded by them, and the price will stabilize in probably about the 35-ish area. I'm guessing 29, 35, something like that. Hard to say. Anyway, my point being, talking to people about speculating in general, because I know people tend to get a little ticked off. There was the controversy going on the last week about Action Comics 1002 and it being Naomi or not, or it was a young Naomi or her sister or cousin twice removed, or whatever the case may be. The point being, guys, whenever you see something either on Key Collector app, or if you see something that's on the comic boards, in Instagram, on Google Plus, any of those places, the main thing about seeing speculator books are either to go digging in a dollar box at your comic book store, or seeing if you have it yourself. As far as trying to chase it down on eBay or really any of the other online sites, to me, and this is just an opinion here, it's sort of a lost cause. I mean, if you didn't get the book when it first comes out, or you have it, or you know that it's at your comic book shop and you can get there before somebody else, it seems to me kind of, and don't take this wrong, but it's a little bit silly to pay $40, $50 on a book that's going to remain that price for maybe a couple months. I mean, what's going to happen for $3.90? It's a great issue. I'm not dissing it. I'm not saying it's a piece of trash by any means, but what I am saying is, if it follows the pattern of other stuff like this, it's going to jump to about probably $40. It'll sit there while the movie's playing. And then when people's interest wanes from Avengers Endgame and goes on to Dark Phoenix and Spider-Man and all that kind of stuff, which inevitably happens, the book starts plateauing. It loses a little bit at a time, and people still have it listed for the $40, and it'll just sit there stagnant. So it's not a great idea to go chasing a book that has already jumped or is in the process of jumping, but it is good to go and hunt them. You can hunt at a convention, you can hunt in a comic book shop, like I mentioned. I'm all for that. But I am a little bit cautious, and I would tell you, I'm not going to tell anybody how to spend their money or not. Hell, I will list books myself, and I hope that people buy them at as much as I'm selling them for. But if you're listening to this, I'm trying to look out and tell you, be careful. Be wary of those prices, because those aren't going to stay. You know, a movie spec book is going to be hot as long as the movie's hot. Once the movie loses interest and people's attention wanes and goes on to bigger and better or other things, the book is going to lose value. A good example is, well, right now you still have a little residual Captain Marvel interest simply because Captain Marvel is going to be in Endgame. But if, let's take Captain Marvel and say she wasn't in Endgame, I can promise you a lot of those books with Goose and all that kind of stuff would be right now plateauing. So again, word of caution to you, if you are not holding, or if you don't know your comic book store's dollar box, if you don't find those books in there, it's kind of a lost cause to go chasing them on eBay. I mean, if you want to pay the price, if you've, you know, hey, it's your money. If you want to spend it that way, good on you. But, you know, again, I'm just saying that to me it seems a little bit silly to pay $40 and $50 for a book that's going to stay that way for, you know, maybe a month or so. So that's my opinion. Let's get to some unboxing. These are some books. Speaking of not chasing eBay books, that's exactly what I did here. So let's see what I got here. First one, this one comes from, let's see, the great state of Arizona. So let's see what we got here. I think I know what this is, but I'm not positive. Just for you, so you know, those of you, I do indeed buy stuff on eBay, but I don't pay the super price. I will try to get it before it jumps. You know, if something's announced, I'll sometimes, part of the fun for me is trying to chase it down before it does that inevitable super jump. Well, it's still in kind of the, and if you're quick enough, if you're quick at the draw, you'll still find cheap copies after something is announced, some news or something like that. But inevitably what happens is those get snapped up usually in about an hour. You have about an hour time after something is announced, maybe. And then after that, all the cheap copies are gone. So again, buyer beware, be cautious. This one is wrapped up very nicely, as you can see. They used some cardboard. It looks like, I bet what they used was they used a box from Diamond Distributors, it looks like, because a lot of times they have that little cutout. Anyway, we're going to open this carefully and cautiously. They tape the corners, which I like. It's a good way to tape down a book without damaging it, if you're careful. And I'm not using I know I've talked in previous videos about using a scalpel. I'm not. I should. So don't do what I do. Do what I say. Okay, they did a good job of wrapping it. They used the postal supplies, which I see a lot of people do. We have X-Men numero of, first of all, X-Men Annual 14, which is a cameo of Gambit. Gambit's, of course, first full appearance is X-Men 266, where he's on the cover and on the inside story. But this is a cameo. It's a nice copy. They graded it as an 8. I don't know if I would say it's an 8. The problem is it's got a little spine roll from being in a box. It's one of those big books that looks like it was compressed a little bit. What I may have to do is give this a quick little press and see what happens. But anyway, this book is actually fairly reasonable right now. I don't think a lot of people know about it, just simply because there's not a lot of Gambit talk. It seems like every time Gambit gets a little bit of steam, what happens is then they'll make an announcement that it was stalled, so that's the issue. But anyway, yeah, X-Men 16 Annual. And there it is. First Gambit cameo. And it is a brief cameo as well, but it's a cameo. Next one is this is from Nucadia. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And we have kind of a spec book. I got these as soon as I heard that these may be a thing. Blackest Night #7. This has sort of a tie-in with the White Lantern Corps, and the reason this may have a somewhat of a tie-in with Naomi. Once again, I hit these before they went nuts. I hit these when I first heard the spec news, and I think I got them, I don't know, I know I got them for about $4 or $5 shipped per issue, so, you know, say $12 for all three. Once again, shipped. I know that's the thing that sucks. Shipping will turn a $2 or $3 book into, you know, a $6 or $7 book, but nonetheless, that's the way it goes. You can't, it's a lot cheaper than walking and getting them yourself, I guess. The next one is, now this one is shipped kind of unusual for a comic book. Quite often, this is be shipped for somebody that's not terribly into comics, because they don't have people that are into buying and selling comics. You can usually tell because they'll have a bunch of Gemini shippers, so you'll get used Gemini shippers, stuff like that, boxes. This one is, okay, they used again some postal stuff, that's good. However, they sealed it. I hate that. That glue is nasty, and the process of undoing it, you can damage a book. A little piece of tape would have worked, but hey, we're not going to bitch. This one is King Size Avengers, #10, and this is first Rogue, I believe. Again, this book is kind of hot right now. It's one of those, again, that you could find all the time, every day and twice on Tuesday a while back, but because of the announcement of the movie and also Rogue's relationship to Captain Marvel, this book has definitely gotten some more interest, so I figured I would get one before the prices go crazy on it. Anyway, that is that book. Once again, annual #10. Well, first, Rogue. And that is all for my unboxing now, guys. Thanks for checking in. Sorry about the little rant and all that kind of nonsense. I appreciate you watching. Have a great weekend. Have a safe Easter. Be careful out there. I'll talk to you later. Bye for now.